What's up guys, it's Nolan here with Okos Automotive, back with another video on the COBB WRX. Today we're doing an install of the COBB intake as well as the Catback exhaust. Let's get started. All right, so here's what we're working with today. Like I said, it's the COBB intake as well as the Catback. I just got the mufflers here and then most of the intake components on this side. For the COBB WRX, on the intake portion, you pretty much just get the drop-in panel filter here, and then as well as a replacement pipe. So no air box on these cars like we've seen in previous generations. Basically the data is showing that it's not entirely necessary. The stock air box flows pretty good, so you can do just the filter, a pipe, and of course some nice silicone couplers to go along with that. Over on the exhaust side, it's stainless steel exhaust. Mufflers have a nice COBB logo embossed on them. Looks really good. All of the flanges look good. They got nice cast flanges with the COBB logo on them. Of course, the welds look good as well. Do the slide-on style of tip onto the muffler here, so you get a little bit of adjustment once they're on the car. So if you need to move them in or out or whatever to get it even on the bumper, you have that option. Have the Y pipe section here as well. Another nice cast piece here for the Y, little COBB C there, and again, nice welds throughout. You'll see that on the entire exhaust. Also have good quality gaskets. It's nice to see exhaust included with nice gaskets and maybe not some of the cheaper prone to leaking gaskets that you'll see with other exhausts. Of course, a nice hardware pack as well. So overall, nice exhaust, nice intake. We know it's gonna fit well because all the COBB stuff does. They really take their time to make sure everything's gonna work correctly for you. You know, no nonsense there. But anyways, with all that talking out of the way, we're gonna get the car lifted up, start off with the exhaust here, and let's get to work. Under the car now, I like to start by unbolting the mufflers first. Just taking a look at this, I guess I haven't noticed, or maybe we haven't had one of these newer cars with a stock exhaust in here yet, but just how small the diameter of the pipe on the Y section is here. So you're gonna get just a big upgrade even just in that part from the Catback alone is, you know, I think it's maybe not quite 3" all the way through, but certainly it's larger than that. So we're gonna start popping these off. Fasteners here, 14 mil on both sides, pretty straightforward. So next we're popping the hangers off. If you're doing this for the first time and you don't have this tool, I definitely recommend purchasing it or something like it. It makes getting the rubber hangers off like 1,000 times easier. This car has a pretty bad coating of like mud and dirt, so we're gonna try to minimize how much of that we get all over the place, but of course, gotta shield up. All right, so with the mufflers off, now we're moving on to the mid-pipe donut flange here. So you got the 2 spring bolts. It's gonna be the same 14 mil here on the bolt side, and then it's a 12 mil nut on the other side. Pretty straightforward, just these 2 bolts off. Of course, you're dealing with a spring, so watch out for that. Don't let it hit you in the face or anything. All right, so now all that's left here is just this hanger. Left it kind of loosely hanging on the donut flange so it hopefully doesn't kill us when it comes off, but here we go. Okay, so with the stock exhaust off now, we could basically go right into the installation of the COBB catback, starting with the mid pipe here. One thing of note and nice about the COBB catback is it does have a tapered flange that's specifically made for the donut gasket on the factory J-pipe, so that's just a nice addition that you know it's going to seal well and correctly with the stuff you already have on the car. So we're swapping out the factory spring bolts here for this included hardware that COBB gives you. So it's a special centering nut to basically make up the gap in this flange here, and then a properly sized nut for the size hole on the OEM side. So that's gonna stick in there. And of course then the nut goes on like so. Okay. And then we'll just leave those basically hand tight until we have the rest of the exhaust on, and then we'll go around and torque everything so that it's happy where it's sitting. Longer than the factory one, so you can. So now with the mufflers hanging and the mid pipe hanging, we're good to put the last piece on. It's just the Y pipe here. This could be a little bit difficult dealing with the gaskets and hardware, but with a little bit of patience, can get it done. So. Okay. Dude, that's like some COBB on COBB action right there. You know what, if I've learned anything, it's that that's all our bolts kind of snugged up. Everything's fitting pretty good, lined up mostly even with the bumper. So now we're good to just kind of snug everything up by hand, or tighten everything, or torque it, or whatever you want to call it. Just make sure it's tight, but not too tight. So, yeah. All right, so now all we have left is to put the tips on. We got these nice kind of T-bolt clamps here. Just gonna put those on the tip first. Slide it on. And if you have it facing that way and on the top, put that on there. You can kind of leave the clamp up top and still be able to tighten it, and it'll give it a nice clean look, so you don't have the clamp. You don't want it hanging down there, you want it up there. Others will spend their whole life trying to beat. We've got the car lowered down a bit now just to play with the adjustment of the tips here. Because they are adjustable, you kind of have some room to play around with if you want them staggered like this, or kind of more flush and inward, or just more out in general. So really it's kind of personal preference, whatever you want to do. We're gonna go something kind of that just follows the bumper line. So probably something like that. But yeah, cool feature that you can play around with it and kind of choose where you want the tips to end up. So I like options. I'm sure most people do too. That's the exhaust all done. So now we're gonna lower the car back down and just start with the engine bay section of the intake. First step with the intake here is gonna be undoing this boot or coupler from the factory airbox. So it's just this hose clamp here. Loosen that guy up and then just push it down and out of the way. That's all you have to do to start. Now we're gonna go under the car, take the under tray off, and get the tube out from the bottom. We gotta get this guy out of the way as well. We're just gonna take these two front clips off, and then there's one bolt, and we can kind of pull it down to get to the bolt up here that we need. Ooh. So now we can pull this down and out of the way. That's gonna give us access to the bolt for the intake bracket up there. That's a 12 mil, so we can get that off. And then lastly here, we just gotta take this clamp that bolts the intake boot to the turbo inlet. And then the whole thing is gonna come down as one piece. Ooh. Like so. We got to do a little bit of pre-assembly of this setup before we slide it up into the car. So this is the upper coupler. It's going to have the flat piece there. We'll take a clamp, put it on there. Other clamp, just loosely like that. Take our other one here. Again, the clamp, just kind of slide it on. Just like that. Okay, they're all kind of loose, but that's what we want. We want to be able to adjust it a little bit, and then we'll take the whole thing, put it up in the car. With it mostly in place, I'm actually going to lower the car back down now, just to get that top coupler onto the airbox and make sure it's all good, and then we'll come back down and get this one lined up. We got that all buttoned up underneath the car. The intake tube is fully tightened down, all the couplers and hose clamps. So our last step here is just to put in the panel filter. We already took the stock one out. Dry cob. Why didn't they call it that?
No, dry cob.
All right, now we're all set under the hood so we can get this thing closed up, start it, and get you some nice exhaust and intake sound clips. Cool, yeah, I think that sounds really good. It kind of wakes the car up, makes it a little bit louder without being too obnoxious. You know, it's just a nice pleasant tone, kind of gives it a deep rumble without being too loud or obnoxious or, you know, pissing off your neighbors potentially. But that's gonna be it for our COBB Catback install as well as intake tube. But yeah, we got some more content coming up on the new WRX and of course our BRZ as well. So stay tuned for all of that. Drop us a comment, let us know what you think about the exhaust or the intake tube or any questions you might have. We want to talk to you. Whatever you want to do, we're there. But with that, that's going to be it for us. So we'll see you guys in the next video.